Hello everyone, my name's Brandon and today I brought a handheld to go out. Since I've previously gone over the Atari 2600 as well as some Pong consoles and then I changed it up with a computer, I figured why not let's do a handheld. So today's handheld I want to talk to you guys about is the Watara Supervision, also known I believe as the, what I think it's called the Quick Shot in the UK or the Hartung in Germany, also Tiger Boy in Taiwan. There's multiple names for this. There's multiple manufacturers, and it was actually intended to be a competitor to the Game Boy. So much like the Game Boy, it uses a very crappy baby shit green screen, but the ghosting on it seems worse to me. So the screen, even though it's bigger, it seems like it's worse. And this model has this triangle like D-pad almost with the two buttons. You get your start and your pause and start, your select right here. And then if we take a look on the side, we have our contrast knob as well as our DC in jack, our on and off switch up here, your cartridge slot in the back, a communication port which I don't think anything has used, the volume knob, and it takes 4 AA batteries much like the original Game Boy. However, this thing is a monster. I do not consider this to be portable at all. In fact, I have a Gameboy DMG right here. This one's in the middle of getting repaired, but this Gameboy DMG, it makes it look small. And if anyone has actually held these are quite large. I remember not liking the DMG when I was a kid when I had one because I could only fit it in cargo pockets, and I did not like to wear cargo pants. Now, what's comparable in size to it would actually be a Sega Game Gear. So the Sega Game Gear is roughly about the same size actually. But I can also compare this to the Atari Lynx, so the Model 2 of the Atari Lynx. And it looks about the same size, except the Lynx is actually larger and a lot thicker. But it's a fun console to pick up. I would like to compare the physical appearance of the games. Now, when you buy the games, they come in these blister packs. In fact, a lot of these I've bought were actually unopened, brand new in box, but no point in leaving this sit on the shelf. I actually wanted to play these, so I opened them up. But they come with a little cartridge protector case. So you can take the cartridge out, and you got your cartridge right here, but the card edge is unprotected. It just sticks right out. I've seen other stuff do this in the past. I can't quite remember. I want to say it's the VTech Socrates does that, but as well as some third-party Game Boy games I've seen. But that's very interesting that they went with that choice. I guess it was cheaper. But the games would come with the manual, and the manual actually folds up nice to where it can fit inside the protective case as well. So I actually got like all the manuals on these as well. The games themselves are quite small. However, with the lip right here, it kind of makes some of them feel thick. So, like, I can take, for an example, its competitor was the Game Boy. I can take a Game Boy cartridge. If I overlay them, they're about the same size, except maybe the Game Boy is a little bit longer. But with this lip right here, it just, to me, it makes it feel like it's bigger than the Game Boy game. But it's roughly about the same size as, say, like an Atari Lynx game almost. But of course, Atari Lynx games are super thin. But we can also compare that to the Game Gear as well. And the Game Gear game absolutely shadows this. The Game Gear game is just bigger in all aspects. I brought out some games here to play that I just grabbed at random. So what I'm going to do, because it's really hard to showcase gameplay on this system due to the screen quality, and there's no good ways to actually capture legitimate gameplay besides having the TV add-on, which I do not have, and from what as I can tell is quite rare to have. The only one I saw at the time when I was trying to look for one were for PAL regions, and at the time I didn't have a PAL TV. But I brought out these 5 games, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to play these in emulation. I'm going to be utilizing Batocera Linux, which I highly recommend anyone check out if you do not have the time, space, or money to invest in games and systems as I have here in front of you. I have nothing against emulation. You guys can do that to your heart's content. There's nothing wrong with it. So we're going to start off with my first game to choose, Carrier. Carrier released in 1992, and this one is actually a clone of Sakuban. And Sakuban is a very fun puzzle-based game where you move boxes around to specific squares, and once you fill all of those squares, you progress to the next level. It's really enjoyable and ramps up in difficulty pretty fast on other systems. It's one of those games that I really enjoy. In fact, I own it on the Coco, as well as I believe I have it on the Famicom. I know for sure I have it on a PC Engine. Next up is the Twinbee we have at home. We have Honeybee. This one I actually enjoy. It's actually a fun game to play. Despite with the screen limitations of the console, it's quite enjoyable, and unfortunately it plays a little slow in my opinion, but it's slow and not so much going on the screen to where you still know what's going on. So it's actually quite enjoyable to play. But as you notice, many of these games, they are clones of existing games, however they don't have the name. But Honeybee is one I recommend. And then here's one that I actually won't recommend. I thought I would like this because I saw that it was a clone of Wonder Boy, and I was like, oh yeah, I love Wonder Boy, I'll buy this. Bought it, and I'm a little disappointed, to be honest, because it's kind of sluggish, and with the screen quality as well as the lag in it, like, just trying to play this game is a little bit difficult. You have to time your jumps just right, and it doesn't quite feel like Wonder Boy. It just feels like Wonder Boy shit his pants and you're dragging him along the stage. Now, another scrolling shooter, Jaguar Bomber. This one is actually a little bit more fun in emulation. It is slow, but when you play this on actual hardware with all the ghosting and the lag, it is a little bit difficult to see where you are, what you're doing, and to avoid the shots from the enemies. At least in some cases, it's pretty obvious to tell that you've been shot at. But in other cases, it's not, and unfortunately with this game, when you do die, you don't have any kind of spawn protection, so there is the chance that you'll get spawned in right on top of another enemy, and that's just not fun. I think this game, Space Fighter, actually might be unique to the system. I may not be right here. If I'm not, you can please correct me. But Space Fighter, it has like the perspective of Commando. However, you move around on there's a locked screen that you moved around on, and enemies spawn in, and you have to shoot at the enemies while dodging their hits. Unfortunately, you can't shoot or move diagonally, only being stuck to the 4 compass directions. So if you take your time and dodge shots, and you'll eventually wear down your enemy's health, and you'll actually do progress through the level. However, that's not quite so fun to me. It's a little bit more fun to play reckless and just abandon all hope of your energy and your health, and just pursue the enemy and shoot as fast as you can. However, you're not going to live very long. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and this has been a fun one to make. I don't really see many people talking about this console online. It seems to be a little bit more obscure, but it's still enjoyable despite the downsides and the downfalls of many of its game library. It's cheap enough to enjoy, in my opinion, especially with finding the games. Many of the games that I found here were actually sealed, new in package, and I opened them up to play them. I do not care about having sealed games. I'm going to open them. What's the point of a sealed game sitting on a shelf? So, But if you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, talk to me down below. I mean, I've always enjoyed just talking about games or systems in general. Have a good one.